Hello, my name is Augustine Romero.
Hi, my name's Jocelyn Alvarez.
Hi, my name is Elisa Rodriguez.
Hi, my name is Ali Tejada. These are some points why parenting is better now and then.
Mental health and mental abuse.
Parenting, closer attention, technological advancements, and authority.
Smaller families and larger families.
Sensitive, an older sibling taking over authority and also being the second parent.
So the topic for today's discussion is why parenting is better now than it is back then. And a question I have for you is, how has modern parenting evolved to become more beneficial for children than it has in the past? Parenting has changed in so many ways from generations ago. About 44% of parents are trying to raise their children differently than their parents did in the past. In today's discussion, we are discussing how parenting has gotten better since our parents' generation and how it has evolved. And parenting has changed since then, it has evolved from many generations ago. And
What makes parenting better now? Voices. Parents are now giving their children voices and opinions on their life. Not only life, but how they express themselves. Letting their children dress how they want and giving them more freedom on hair and makeup. Back then, it was very common for parents to choose what you wore, how you wore it, and where you wore it. Nowadays, it's not uncommon for children and teenagers to wear what they want, where they want, and how they want to wear it. Same as makeup. Back then, it was very looked down upon for people to wear certain types of makeup, saying it's mainly for older people. Now, many people are letting children as young as elementary school wear the makeup that they choose and that they like. Relationships. Parents in modern day America are giving their children more free reign on dating who they want and more freedoms while dating. Back then, it was parent supervision allowed many relationships to develop and how they went on dates. You must have a father or a mother watching you at all times. Now it's not uncommon for relationships and couples to be at home alone, or laying down in their rooms, or in certain areas of their house. Allowing their children to spend more time with their child's significant other. It's not uncommon for a couple to be with each other every single day or spend the night at each other's houses. Back then, it was very uncommon for people to spend the night at each other's houses, including just normal sleepovers with their friends. Now it's very normal for you to go a week to 2 weeks without seeing your parents, just because typically you're just spending the night at your friend's house. Nowadays, it's very common, but back then it was very uncommon because it was either you weren't allowed to spend the night or it was very little. Parents in modern day America pay more attention to their child's mental health. Mental health is a very big thing nowadays. Many parents have mental health days, which allow their child a day off from school to kind of just breathe and really help with undergo stress that they develop from school. Many people use it as a way to relax, watch movies, or just simply spend time with their parents. Because now many people actually like to spend time with their parents. Many parents even allow their child to go many days taking a mental health day, not just one. Just to sleep or lay down. More parents are realizing that they don't want to parent like their parents parented. They're realizing that they don't like the rules or they don't like the ideas that they were given down upon whenever they were growing up. Mainly because it's how it affected them and they don't want to treat their child the same way. Now that they realize this, that's why they chose to change their parenting style and really incorporate their child into it, including their voice, expression, and relationships. They're changing the way their kids are treated mentally and physically. It's not uncommon for many people to go to a mental health therapist or just a therapist in general. Back then, it was very looked down upon because many people thought it was very weird or you were odd if you went to a therapist. Now, it's common to say, I went to a therapist to go talk about my feelings. Or many people are told to go talk to a therapist because sometimes it does help relieve stress. Authority has changed so much from what it was then to what it is now. Parents now are giving their child more authority to speak for themselves, not having to constantly be shut out of adult conversations. It's not odd for you to be talking to an adult at a normal manner at a normal time. It's normal for you nowadays for children to walk up to an adult and just have a conversation with them. Back then, you were told to stop talking, to shut your mouth, or to go away.
How parenting evolved, ways of parenting now, and effects of technology. Parenting nowadays has changed drastically over the past few decades. Parents now are spending more time with their children and learning how to communicate with them on a better level than their parents did. Parents and guardians alike are even starting a new parenting style called intensive parenting. Intensive parenting is making sure your child has the best clothes, that they're up to speed with the new trends, and in general, devoting more energy and time than the average parent used to have. This is how parenting has changed and has created a more attending and intensive parent-child relationship. Since the boom of technology in the 30s, starting with radios to now with their cell phones, parenting styles have changed because of this boom of technology that has entered in their teenagers' and kids' lives. This in turn has created new ways of parenting and has allowed our guardians to use the research tools like social media to better help and understand their child. Not only does technology and social media help guardians take a specific direction of disciplining and instructing their kid, since parents then didn't have this, they disciplined and worked the best they could with little to no outside influence in their parenting ways or from the original parenting ways that their parents disciplined them. With the research advantages that parents now have, allowed them to work as a team and in a more efficient way than their parents before had. What changed in parenting styles and why? A lot has changed from parenting styles of our parents versus their own. Parents would use a command and control method, meaning when the parents said is law, and the kids were expected to follow and do what their parents told them to. I have an example of this when at home, my mom says to go and mop the floor or do the dishes. I immediately say yes ma'am and I do it. If not, I get my phone taken away and I'm set upstairs in my room and I'm in big trouble because I just gave her attitude. This is a way of old parenting styles that my mom still has that I think could definitely change. And if you're trying to ask your kid to do something or have them do something in the house, then maybe asking them and inviting them in a certain way can be different and not as how it used to be from the old parenting styles. Nowadays, parenting is more free and flexible with what their parents' child say or do. Unlike my mom, it allows for a greater sense of autonomy. Another difference between now and then is that parents are less reliant on their older children, who undoubtedly had more work raising their parents' children than the actual parent themselves. Many children then had to take on the roles of the second parent because parents didn't want to, they were tired at the end of the day, they didn't really want to discipline. They didn't want to have to do the work a parent should. These are just some ways parenting has changed throughout the years. The reason for these changes are because of recent family structures that are now acceptable in this new modern world. Family structures were something that was seen as necessary when creating a family. A dad/husband who worked and a mom/wife who cleaned and cooked at home with their 6 children. Family structures are now completely fine with just a mom, dad, or guardian in general, with a steady income and only 1 child. Since family structures are changing along with parenting styles, it's easy to see why the development of this generation's parents differ from the older generations.
How parenting has changed from now versus then. How much has parenting changed? Parenting has changed a lot since families no longer needed to be huge families as they once were. Parents didn't have as much one-on-one time with their kids. Parenting wasn't as one-on-one back then as it is now, since the families aren't as big as they once were. Law has also changed parenting from the past to the present by protecting the children from abusive and neglecting parents. Child protective services didn't exist, so there is no safety net for abused or neglected children. This protects the child more now and offers them support or a way out of a bad situation. Why parenting has changed. Parents now have more information to be better parents and know what to do and avoid doing for their children. Advancements in science wasn't as advanced as it is now. So parents didn't have access to the same information as we do now. In the past, parents had to do parenting on their own and didn't have the resources as today to know how to be a good parent. In the past, parents had to deal with kidnappers and other things involving danger to the child. But now modern parents have all those combined with the internet. Modern parents have to be extra cautious since their child could be prone to online bullying and scamming. You can safeguard your child from cyberbullying by limiting their social media use, setting up parental controls, and teaching them how to protect their privacy online.
In conclusion, I think it is pretty safe to say that parenting is much better off now than it was back in the day. Parenthood has evolved, developed, and grown since the good old days. The straightforward and demanding ways of parenting are nothing but of the past. Parenting definitely has changed over the ages and will continue to do so as our society and ways of living change throughout the decades.